I just got back from Bible study, and we just started reading Philippians. And I'm new as a Christian, pretty new, so I haven't read it yet. And I'm pretty excited to get into it. And we're reading, and one thing that stuck out to one of my fellow Bible study members, as well as I, was a verse that, the disciple Paul says. And he's talking about just the different types of people who are trying to spread the gospel. One of them being more selfish, ambitious people who are looking out for their own interest, and the others being ones who do it out of love and humility and selflessness. And he brings those up, and instead of condemning them or judging them or anything like that, he says this: "But that doesn't matter. Whether their motives are false or genuine, the message about Christ is being preached either way, so I rejoice, and I will continue to rejoice." And that was very encouraging to me because I, as a new Christian, still have a pride and hubris about me, sometimes even an arrogance. And I try to make sure that I don't judge people and that I look at them with favor, and that I don't look at them as someone who is messing up and just being someone who's, harmful to the faith if they're not really or even if they are. I try to look at them as people who are practicing and going through trial and error just like me. And if I don't do that, I worry that I might fall into my own sort of arrogance and even resentment, or start condemning people or start doing anything like that. So I try to make sure that I don't just put my own interpretation above all, that I don't put my hubris above all people and make it so people have this sort of, hesitancy about what they think is right because some guy came in there and put his staff on the ground and said, "This is my way and that's the right way." Now, I'm new. I'm new to this, and I have no idea what I'm doing, pretty much. I do. I do a little bit. But I make mistakes. I don't know everything. In fact, I know very little. In fact, I know basically nothing other than what I know to be true in my heart. So I can get things wrong. So I don't want to be boasting about my view or judging others for theirs, or even worse, condemning them for theirs, acting like I have the hand of God to slam down on the judge's podium and say, "You're wrong, I'm right. Let me tell you how it is so I can save you." That's hubris, that's pride, and that's the devil. And so, from there, I hope to find a better understanding of people. I hope to grow with my humility, my compassion, and empathy, and try to be someone who has their own views, who sticks to them and grows from others, and doesn't infringe on the rights and views of other people. So that's why I'm making this video, just to remind anyone who's, kind of getting into that same funk at times, to stay humble, to make sure that they hold on to what they feel is right, but only if they're also holding the hands of those around them. Make sure that you have a healthy view on other people, independent of whatever you think their views are. Whether it's about Christianity or not. Be humble and be caring and kind and empathetic to people who are just trying to learn like you. Strengthen yourself through the strengthening of heart in holding on to people and allowing them to grow through you, and you the same. I just ask that people look at other Christians or any other person who is making a mistake or who isn't, and look at them as someone who is just another person who knows what they know, who goes about life in the way they do, and that they need encouragement. They don't need condemning. If they need rebuking, give it to them, but don't condemn them. Don't judge your fellow man. Treat them accordingly so that you can go about your life, strengthening your faith, being stronger from it, and helping others in that process, treating others the way you would like to be treated. And from there, you love your God pretty well because you are helping others become faithful to Him. Look, it's very easy to get caught up in fear, in hubris, in pride, in anything when you are trying to learn something new. Anything in your life. For example, I've been doing mental health for a while. I've been learning in therapy. I'm not a professional, but I have experience and I have insight to it, wisdom and all that stuff. And sometimes when I look at people, specifically people who've gone through things that I have, I start to think, oh, you're not doing it the right way, or you're not promoting the right message to people. You're being harmful to people because your views don't align with mine. And whether that's true or not, I have no way of knowing, but I feel strongly about those things. I feel passionate. I feel really emboldened to speak up at times, but, I hold it in. But in my heart, I just want to explode and tell them how it is and say, you're not doing it right. I want to know exactly what you think so that I can shoot it down and go and replace it with my thing. Now, that's a very ugly desire, but I sometimes have that, and many people do, because we're passionate about the things that are important to us. That's a very normal part of life. What gets really gross, what gets really mucky, and the waters get muddy is when you start to say that you know when you don't. Because at the end of the day, with this whole Bible thing, it's very hard to know. You can feel, you can know something to be true in your heart, But to say that you know, it gets difficult. I'm not saying that you can't. If something's spelled out in the Bible, you can know as much as you know anything. What color is that? I don't know. It's blue. What do you think? It's blue. Okay, cool. We agree, but we don't know what we see. It's the same deal with the Bible at times. We can't see past the things that are on the page. We work with what we know, and we can agree on some wholehearted approach to reading it and trying to spread the word, trying to be faithful and all that stuff. But it's really enticing, really intoxicating to latch on to what you think you know, latching on to the interpretation that you have, and rolling with it, even if you steamroll over people who are just trying to do the same. Arguing and bickering with people who are just trying to live life is not, in my opinion, conducive to a healthy community. Rebuking, debating, insightful commentary, conversating, all that stuff is great. It is. But I say this to you as much as to myself. When we latch on to our sense of self, we are attaching to the world. We are not attaching to God. And that goes specifically for this as well. When we think that our way of practicing faith is the one above all, we are putting ourselves above all in a way. Because all of these things in this book, they're above all. And we're claiming that our interpretation of those things is the right one. We are elevating ourselves to a high status, whether intended or not. And that's a very prideful, boastful thing. And so we just must have the humility so that we can stay safe and others can stay safe and faithful and trusting in God. It's just important to try to work through these problems, to have faith in ourselves, that if we open ourselves up to new perspectives and stay patient, resilient, and trustful of God and Him, educating us on how to be better servants, we don't have to fear other people's opinions that would make us go and latch on and jump onto the train of condemning and hatred or anything like that. Trust in our own path. Don't have fear of what you don't know or what you do know. And try to stay true to that so that you don't hurt those around you. You never want to drive someone out of the faith or anything like that or make them feel like they're bad when they're not. So if you don't fear, if you don't have that insecurity about your practice, I do trust that you can find more security in it through the faith that is strengthened by continuous humility, continuous trust, a continuous bond with those around you, and a growth through their perspectives as well as their growth through yours. I think that's important. But I just hope that anyone, including myself, can try to let go of our preconceived notions of self, our preconceived notions of God and everything around that, and try to just move forward and progress with a pace that is reasonable, looking forward and not at all the other people around us, trying to pinpoint exactly what they're doing wrong. That's a tough game to play, and you're going to lose it. I feel that is true. So all I wanted to say was just stay humble, try to find whatever works for you, and share it. But if it's rejected, or if you hear someone else's, hear them out, let them share it, discuss, and feel the weight of that growth that might come. And if it doesn't, move on, note it, and just go back to your ways and hope for the next day to come where you have an opportunity to grow again. That's all for today. See ya!